Ignore him for 5 days, and he will look for you. You keep checking your phone, pretending you do not care. But your mind is trapped in one question. Why is he not texting me? And the more you wait, the more you feel it slipping. Your value, your control, your peace. You start replaying conversations, wondering if you said too much, if you showed too much, if you became too easy to reach. And deep down, you already feel the answer, even if you do not want to admit it. He did not lose interest overnight. He stopped feeling your absence. Because when you are always there, always available, always responding, something dangerous happens. You stop being felt. You stop being missed. You become predictable. And predictability kills desire faster than rejection ever could. This is where most women get it wrong. They think love grows with more attention, more presence, more effort. But attraction does not work like that. Attraction grows in space, in mystery, in the moments where he cannot access you, cannot read you, cannot feel certain about you. Now imagine this: 5 days, no messages, no reactions, no chasing, no emotional availability. At first, it feels like you are losing, like you are giving him exactly what he wants: distance, freedom, silence. But what if that silence is not weakness? What if that silence is the first time he actually feels you? Because when you disappear, something shifts inside him. Curiosity starts to rise, then doubt, then that uncomfortable question he cannot ignore. What is she doing without me? And that question is powerful, because it pulls his attention back to you, not because you asked for it, but because he feels it. This is not about playing games. This is about changing your position, from the one who waits to the one who is waited for. But there is a right way to do this, and a way that destroys everything. If you get this wrong, he moves on without hesitation. If you get this right, he comes back with a different energy, one you have never seen before. And that is exactly what you are about to understand. The truth. No one tells you about attention. You are taught that if you show interest, he will value you more. That if you are present, caring, and consistent, he will feel safe enough to stay. It sounds right. It feels right. And yet, it keeps leading you to the same place. Distance, silence, confusion. Because attention, when given without limits, stops being valuable. It becomes expected. And what is expected is no longer appreciated. Think about it. When he knows you will reply fast, he takes his time. When he knows you will be there no matter what, he does not feel the need to reach for you. Not because he is evil, not because he is playing you, but because there is no tension pulling him toward you. Desire does not grow in certainty. It grows in the space between presence and absence. This is the part most people ignore. Attraction is not built only on what you give. It is built on what is felt when you are not there. When your energy is no longer filling his space, his mind starts trying to replace it. That is when you become a thought, not just a message on his screen. And here is the uncomfortable truth. The more you try to secure his attention by giving more of yourself, the less he feels the need to invest, because you removed the effort from his side. You answered before he wondered. You showed up before he missed you. You gave certainty before he had the chance to feel curiosity. And without curiosity, there is no chase. Without chase, there is no emotional investment. This is not about becoming cold or distant for no reason. This is about understanding that your presence has weight. And if you give it away all the time, it loses impact. The moment you stop overgiving, something changes. He starts noticing the silence. He starts questioning the shift. And that is where your power begins to rebuild. But most women cannot hold this position. They break too early. They reach out too soon. They ruin the very effect that would make him come back, and that is exactly what you need to avoid next. The invisible mistake that pushes him away. You think you are being caring, supportive, present, but what he feels is something completely different: predictability. And that is the mistake that slowly kills the tension between you. It does not happen in one big moment. It happens in small, repeated behaviors you barely notice. You reply instantly, every time. You are always available, no matter the hour. You keep conversations alive even when he lets them die. You show interest even when he gives you the minimum. And without realizing it, you teach him something. He does not need to try, because you are already there. This is where the dynamic shifts. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly. He stops initiating as much. He delays responses. He becomes inconsistent. And you feel it. That subtle pull away that makes you anxious. So what do? You try harder. You send another message. You ask more questions. You give more attention, hoping to bring him back to how it was before. But every extra effort pushes him one step further away. Because now, there is no tension left. No uncertainty. No challenge. No reason for him to lean in. You remove the emotional gap that makes attraction grow. And here is the part that hurts. You did everything thinking it would make him stay, but it actually made him feel less curiosity, less urgency, less desire. Not because you are not enough, but because you made yourself too available to be felt. When someone does not have to wonder about you, they stop thinking about you. When someone does not risk losing you, they stop valuing you. This is the invisible mistake. You filled every space he should have filled. And now, there is nothing pulling him toward you. But the moment you step back, something uncomfortable happens on his side. The space returns. And this time, it is him who has to deal with it. The psychological power of silence. Silence is not empty. Silence is pressure. The moment you stop reaching out, you create a gap. And the human mind does not like gaps. It tries to fill them, understand them, control them. That is exactly where his attention begins to shift back to you. At first, it is subtle. He notices the delay, then the absence. He checks your last message, your last interaction, trying to find a reason. Something that explains why you are not there like before. And when he finds nothing, the discomfort begins. Because now, for the first time, he cannot predict you, and unpredictability creates curiosity. Curiosity turns into mental repetition. He starts thinking about you without realizing it. What are you doing? Who are you talking to? Why did you change? And here is where silence becomes powerful. Not because you are ignoring him to manipulate him, but because you are no longer feeding his certainty. When you were always available, he did not have to imagine you. Now he does. When you were always responding, he did not have to wonder. Now he wonders. And that internal movement is what brings him back. People do not chase what is always there. They chase what they feel they might lose. Silence creates that feeling. But there is a detail most people miss. Silence only works when it is real. If you are silent outside, but desperate inside, you break. You check his profile. You wait for a notification. You become reactive again the moment he appears. And that destroys everything you started. Because true silence is not just external. It is emotional. It is when you stop needing his attention to feel okay. And that is what he feels, even without you saying a word. The moment your silence becomes grounded, not forced, it changes the entire dynamic. He is no longer dealing with the same version of you. And that uncertainty is what pulls him closer. But silence alone is not enough. Because what you do during those 5 days will decide everything. The 5 days that change everything. This is where most women think it is simple. Just disappear, and wait. But this is exactly where they fail. Because these 5 days are not about doing nothing. They are about doing the right things while you are not visible to him. Day 1 feels uncomfortable. You reach for your phone without thinking. You want to send something casual, just to keep the connection alive. That impulse is the first test. If you break here, nothing changes. You go back to the same pattern where he does not have to move. Day 2 is when your mind starts creating stories. Maybe he does not care. Maybe he is talking to someone else. Maybe he is already gone. This is where most women panic and ruin the silence. But understand this. Your reaction is not based on reality. It is based on fear of losing control. Day 3 is the shift. This is when your energy starts coming back to you. You stop checking as much. You start focusing on your own life again. And something important happens. You begin to detach from the outcome. This is the moment your silence starts becoming real. Day 4 is where his curiosity is already active, even if you do not see it yet. He may check your profile, reread conversations, think about reaching out. Because now, the absence has weight. And then comes day 5. This is the point where the emotional gap is fully created. He feels the difference. The version of you that was always there is gone. And now, he has to decide. Either he reaches out or he lets you go. And here's the truth most people avoid. If he lets you go, he was already leaving. These 5 days do not make someone love you. They reveal what was already there. But if there was interest, if there was connection, if there was even a small emotional investment, these 5 days amplify it. Because now, for the first time, he has to feel your absence instead of your presence. And that changes everything. But what he feels during these days is even more important than the days themselves. What he starts feeling when you disappear. At first, he does not react the way you expect. There is no immediate message, no sudden confession, no dramatic return. There is silence. But this silence is different from yours. His silence is processing, because your absence interrupts something he had already taken for granted. Your presence. And when something familiar disappears without explanation, the mind does not ignore it. It investigates it. The first feeling that appears is curiosity. He notices the gap. He checks your last interaction. He tries to understand if something happened. And when he finds no clear reason, his mind starts creating possibilities. That is when you move from a notification to a thought. Then comes doubt. Did she lose interest? Did I do something wrong? Is she talking to someone else? These questions create a tension he did not feel before. Because when you were always there, he never had to question anything. Now he does. And that uncertainty pulls his attention back to you. After that, something deeper starts to grow. Ego. He is used to your attention, used to knowing that you are available. And when that disappears, it hits his sense of control. Not in a negative way, but in a way that makes him want to reestablish that connection. He wants to know if he still has access to you. And this is where many women make a mistake. The moment he shows a small sign, they rush back. They respond instantly. They give everything again. And just like that, the tension disappears. But if you hold your position, something else emerges. Desire. Not because you asked for it, not because you forced it, but because he had to feel the absence long enough for it to matter. When someone feels they might lose you, your value increases in their perception. Not artificially, emotionally. And that is what makes him reach out. Not your effort, not your messages, your absence. But here is the critical point. Not every man reacts the same way. And understanding this will save you from chasing someone who was never coming back. Why some men come back and others don't. This is the part that hurts, but also the part that sets you free. Not every man will come back after those 5 days. And that is not a failure of the strategy. It is a revelation of the truth. Because when you remove your constant presence, you remove the comfort he was receiving without effort. And what remains is what he actually feels. If there was genuine interest, your absence amplifies it. He notices the difference, feels the gap, and moves toward you. But if there was only convenience, your absence exposes it. There is no emotional pull, no urgency, no reason for him to return. And this is where most women get trapped. They assume that if he does not come back, they did something wrong. So they break the silence, reach out, try to restart the connection, hoping to fix what feels broken. But nothing was broken. It was empty. You were filling a space that he was not invested in. These 5 days do not create feelings that were never there. They only remove the illusion that something deeper existed. And that clarity is power. Because now you stop wasting energy trying to revive something that had no structure to stand on. At the same time, when a man does come back, it is different. He does not return with the same relaxed energy. He returns with attention, with curiosity, with a subtle urgency to reconnect. Because he felt the shift. He felt that you are no longer in the same position. And that changes how he sees you. But even when he comes back, there is a moment where everything can collapse again. A single mistake can put you right back where you started. And that moment is exactly what you need to understand next. The critical moment. When he comes back, he finally texts you. And in that exact second, everything you built in those 5 days is at risk. Because your first instinct is to respond fast, to show you care, to reopen the connection exactly how it was before. Your mind tells you this is your chance to fix everything. But this is where most women lose. Not because he came back, but because they go back to the same version of themselves, the same availability, the same emotional intensity, the same need for reassurance. And the moment you do that, the tension disappears. He feels it immediately, that nothing really changed, that you are still there in the same way, waiting, ready, predictable. And just like that, his behavior slowly returns to what it was before. Less effort, less curiosity, less investment. So what should you do instead? You respond, but you do not rush. You engage, but you do not overgive. You show interest, but you do not hand him full access again. Because this moment is not about reconnecting the old dynamic. It is about creating a new one. He needs to feel that there is now a different energy, that your time is not instantly available, that your attention has weight, that your presence is something he needs to earn, not assume. And this does not require games or manipulation. It requires control, emotional control, the ability to feel the urge to give more and choose not to, the ability to stay grounded even when he reappears. Because the truth is simple. The silence got his attention, but your behavior after that decides if you keep it. If you collapse back into old patterns, you reset everything. If you hold your position, you change everything. And this is where the real transformation begins. The real transformation. It was never about him. If you still think this is about making him come back, you missed the point. Because the moment you needed to disappear for 5 days to be noticed, something was already out of balance. You were giving more than you were receiving. You were investing more than he was. You were trying to maintain a connection that was not being equally sustained. And that is where the real problem was. Not in him. In your position. Because when you place your value in someone else's attention, you lose control over how you feel. Your mood depends on his messages. Your confidence depends on his consistency. Your peace depends on his presence. And that is a fragile place to be. These 5 days are not just about creating absence for him. They are about creating distance for you. distance from the need to be validated, distance from the habit of overgiving, distance from the version of you that accepts less than what you truly want. Because when you step back, you start seeing clearly. You notice patterns you ignored. You recognize behaviors you excused. You understand that what you were calling connection was often just availability, and that awareness changes everything. Now you are not waiting to be chosen. You are observing if he is worth your presence. Now you are not trying to keep him interested. You are deciding if his actions match what you expect. That is power. Not controlling him, controlling yourself. Because the woman who does not depend on attention becomes the woman everyone notices. And this is the shift that lasts, not the silence, not the 5 days. The identity you build when you realize you no longer need to chase what should naturally come toward you. And once you reach this point, the entire dynamic changes. When the game flips, he starts chasing you. There is a moment when the dynamic shifts, and it is not loud. It is subtle, but undeniable. He starts reaching out first. He keeps conversations going. He pays attention to details he used to ignore. And the difference is not in what he says. It is in the energy behind it. Now there is effort. Now there is intention. Now there is a quiet urgency that was not there before. And this only happens for one reason. He felt what it is like not to have you. That absence created something inside him that your presence never could. It made him realize that access to you is not guaranteed. And when access is no longer guaranteed, it becomes valuable. But here is where many women get confused. They think this is the moment to relax, to finally give in, to reward him with the same availability they had before. And that is exactly what breaks the shift. Because the moment you return to full access, you remove the very condition that made him step forward. So instead of collapsing back, you maintain your standard. You stay warm, but not overly available. You stay present, but not predictable. You allow connection, but you do not abandon your boundaries. And this is not about creating distance forever. It is about creating balance. Because now, he is investing. Now, he is meeting you. Now, the dynamic is no longer one-sided, and that is what you were looking for from the beginning. Not attention, reciprocity. But there is one last thing you need to understand, because this is where everything becomes clear. The final warning. This is not a trick, it is a test. If you think this is a formula to make any man come back, you will end up disappointed. Because this is not about control. It is about exposure. These 5 days do not create feelings. They reveal them. They remove your constant presence and show what remains when you are no longer holding the connection alone. And that truth is uncomfortable. Because sometimes he comes back and you feel validated. But sometimes he does not. And that is where most women break. They take it personally. They feel rejected. They assume they were not enough. So they go back. They text. They try to revive something that already showed its reality. But understand this clearly. If your absence does not move him, your presence never mattered the way you believed. And that is not something to fight. That is something to accept. Because chasing someone who does not respond to your absence only teaches them one thing, that you will stay, no matter what. And that destroys your value more than rejection ever could. This is why this process is a test, not of him, of you. Your ability to stay grounded. Your ability to not run back to what feels familiar. Your ability to walk away from what does not meet you. Because the real power is not making someone come back. It is knowing you are okay if they do not. And when you reach that point, something shifts in every interaction you have. People feel it. They respond to it. They respect it. And that is what changes your results long term. Conclusion. You thought this was about ignoring him for 5 days. It was never about the days. It was about what happens when you stop abandoning yourself to keep someone else interested. Because every time you chased, every time you overgave, every time you stayed available hoping he would choose you, you were slowly teaching him that your presence had no cost. And when something has no cost, it has no weight. These 5 days were not silence. They were a reset, a break from the version of you that accepted less, that waited, that tried to earn attention instead of expecting it naturally. And now you see it. When you step back, you gain clarity. When you stop filling the space, you see who steps into it. When you stop trying to be chosen, you realize you were always the one who should be choosing. Some men will come back. Others will disappear. But the most important thing is this: you will not be the same woman who waits and wonders anymore. You will be the woman who observes, decides, and moves accordingly. And that changes everything, because the moment you stop chasing attention, you start attracting it. Not by force, by position. Now there is something you need to understand next, because this is where most women lose even after everything you just learned. There is one mistake that slowly kills his interest, even when he was the one chasing you at the beginning. And almost no one talks about it. That is exactly what you need to see next.